So I didn't say good morning to everyone else. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So we're ready to start?
Yes, we're live now on the webinar.
Okay.
And Newton are you promoting people up, Newton? If we need to.
Okay, well, good morning. Today is December 10th of 2020. And the time now is 10:48 a.m. And open session is called into order. Quorum is present. So we start with first, is there any public comment? Newton, are you aware of any public comment?
There are no attendees that I don't recognize, so
Okay.
no one here.
Okay, so seeing no public comment, we will proceed to the chair's report. And the chair's report, I saw from reviewing the tentative decisions, I want to thank all the hard work of you guys at the commission, because there is lots and lots and lots of information here. And it just amazes me you're able to get through all that and make such good decisions. So I'm very impressed. And secondly, that I see we even have some cases from 2019 that were on the calendar. So kudos for that. So that's all I have on the chair's report. How about the program director's report?
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for the kind words. Everybody has been working really hard, really trying to get out as many cases as we can this year. And so everybody's really been working hard. And with everything going on, it's, as you know, extra hard to really concentrate and focus and get everything done. So I'm really appreciative of everything that everybody's been doing this year. We wanted to take a look at Newton. I'm sorry, do we see Douglas or no?
Well, the email I have says that he's in the closed session, so we need to come out of that and go into the public session.
I joined
Okay.
the wrong one.
He must have got on the wrong, he used the wrong link, I guess, to start with.
I can forward it to him again.
Yeah. I can go ahead, and we just wanted to talk about meeting dates for next year. So what we're proposing is next year, leaving it as Zoom meetings unless, you know, something drastically changes. And we're proposing 5 dates spread out for our Zoom meetings, with the first meetings on February 25th. So, and then we'll go to May 20th, August 19th, October 14th, and December 16th. If anybody has any major conflicts, I mean, we don't expect, sometimes you might have to miss a meeting, we understand, but we try and make sure we can get a quorum for those days. I think it's a little
Could you
easier with,
repeat those last 2 dates?
Yes.
I got through August and I didn't get the other 2.
sorry about that, Melanie. August 19th, October 14th, and December 16th. The reason we pushed back December a little bit, it was a little difficult getting the calendar out this time with the Thanksgiving holiday. It kind of fell right when we would have been sending everything out. And so we were trying to give ourselves a little time to get that out. And I think without having to travel, I think it's a little bit easier now to get to some of these meetings and not have to worry as much about conflicts. So hopefully that can work for everybody. Hi, Douglas. We're just looking at some of our tentative meeting dates for next year that we're proposing. So, Betty, were they in the materials that you sent to the commission?
No, the meeting day, I did not send it.
Okay. So we're looking at February 25th, May 20th, August 19th, October 14th, and December 16th. And we're still planning on Zoom meetings. Again, we did plan for some travel budget next year if it's allowed or if it makes sense, but we could do a mix of the meetings too. If, you know, if some people can travel and some can't, if we are allowed to travel again, or if it makes sense to travel again, we can still keep the Zoom function. So I also want to give an update on our CSF statistics. So through November, We've closed over 1,100 cases. We've paid 9.4 million on 734 cases as of November 30th. And we have in process another over 3 million. So we have about 12.4 million total with everything we've already processed and what we have in the works, assuming things, there's not objections or decisions don't change. But that's what we have out in process. And there'll probably still be some more going out before the end of the year. So that was the most we've ever done in a year was around 11 million. So this year is a record year for reimbursements. And as you pointed out, Robert, there were some 2019 cases on there. I think there's a few 2020s we've been getting to. We're really, I think when we get to next year and we see some of the cases that we're waiting for some special circumstances, like Ringo, where there's some, another agency that's paying some of those matters. When we clean all of those out, I think we'll really have a manageable inventory, and it'll be pretty recent where we'll be able to start handling things much more quickly once it's ready and for our processing, once we have jurisdiction, essentially, if there's discipline or whatever. So this year with the extra money, we've really been able to do a lot of good. And I just also wanted to inform the commission that as of November, our CSF rules were revised. It's a sort of a technical point. The state bar has been revamping its rules and looking at all the statutes that apply. And there's a statute that provided for the state bar court to order sanctions against disciplined attorneys. And there would never been really any rules in place to do that. And so the state so the state bar went through and created rules for sanctioning of attorneys. But along with that, if they are sanctioned and if they pay the sanctions, that money is supposed to come to the client security fund. So there could be an extra revenue source there if the sanctions are imposed and if they're paid by the respondent attorneys, which of course is the key point there, right, is actually getting the money. But if they do come into us, we had to create some rules for how we would handle it, because there's some tricky points in the statute that talk about if there's somebody who has a judgment against that attorney, then they might be entitled to the money that was paid in sanctions. So we had to create a rule to handle that if that situation were to arise, where we get sanction money and then somebody who was a former client of the attorney has a judgment against that attorney, we might have to give that money back to that client. So we created a process. Matt did a lot of work on that to create the rule and get that approved. Honestly, we don't anticipate that this is going to come up much. They will be imposing the sanctions and we might get some money from it, but the next step with there actually being somebody who has a judgment against that attorney and applying to the fund for that sanction money to come back to them, I think is going to be a pretty rare occurrence. But we wanted to make sure to have a rule in place in case that happened. So we'll see what happens next year as that gets going. And if we end up getting revenue from that, we'll try and track that and let you know what happens. Let's see, I think that's all I had. Newton, do you have any ABA updates for the commission?
We did actually have a meeting yesterday, and at our last commission meeting, I mentioned that they were considering still doing a live event in June with a backup webinar version. So they decided yesterday to do it all online virtually, and it's going to be going from a 2-day event to a 1-day event, June 4th. And so that's still going on. The scheduling and the program has shrunk a little bit because we don't want everyone to be on Zoom all day long, but it's still looking to be a good program. We're going to be joining with the National Client Protection Funds and doing another event with them as well. So
Great, thank you. And when time comes now, if commission members would like to attend that forum, we have money in our training budget for the commission members to attend, and especially without travel, it would just be, the cost of the seminars. So we can think about that when it gets closer. Matt, did you have any updates for the commission?
None other than what you discussed with the new rule. So thank you for that, for explaining that. It also would apply, we may be able to reimburse for criminal sanctions against the attorney. It has to be related to the misconduct for which they're sanctioned. So if a victim has an uncollectible civil judgment, as Lori said, and also or a criminal restitution order that's uncollectible, we may be able to reimburse them from sanctions we actually receive from attorney or on the attorney's behalf. And that's new rule 3.434B5. And it's on the State Bar's website, and I could shoot you the link after the meeting.
Thank you, Matt. Okay. We had a little glitch on our getting the open session meeting minutes too. We have to get those remediated, and the bar's going through a little bit of a change on who can do that work. So we have to just post these for you to review here today. Next time we'll be able to send them to you, hopefully. So if you want to take a second and look at the minutes, and then Bob, when you're ready, we can call for them to be approved.
Yes, okay. Given the presentation of the minutes, is there a motion to approve the open meeting minutes?
I move to approve.
A second?
A second.
Okay, so the motion is carried. And Betty, do you want to take roll?
What do we say for roll again? Because I know last time I was wrong.
It's basically you're voting on it, so you can just say yay or nay.
Okay.
Do we still have Betty there? Betty,
Yeah.
are you there?
Yes, Joseph Domino,
Present.
Douglas Hassel,
Aye.
Melanie O'Day.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion is carried. And
That's
Any
all
oth-
we have on our open session. Newton, you still don't see that there's any public members or anything, anybody that was expecting to speak?
No.
Okay, great.
okay, great. So thank you very much. Absent any other business, open session is now adjourned at 11:01 a.m. And we will now reconvene to close session.
All right, so remember, everybody has to go off and come back on the other link. So we'll see you all again on the other side.